All right. So speaking of fuck yourself. Yesterday, we reported that Unity has changed its pricing model. They had adopted a new plan that was supposed to go into effect next year, where they're going to start charging for installs and reinstalls and reinstalls and the occasional reinstall. I don't know how they're going to track it. I'm sure there's some privacy shit involved with that. Right? I don't know how they're going to track it. So anyways, everybody's super upset. And also talking about other platforms they could go make video games on, of course. Like Unreal. Unreal 5.3 looks amazing. As a matter of fact, Unreal, a representative of Unreal actually came out on LinkedIn and was like, we only succeed when you succeed. Our 5% royalty model only kicks in after the first $1 million in gross revenue, meaning if you make $1,001, you owe us 5 cents. And this is per title. You don't have to worry about the long tail either. Even if you pass $1 million mark for a single title, if that title grosses less than $10,000 for the calendar quarter, then you don't owe us any royalty payments for that quarter. Whoa! And they posted this shit yesterday. They're like, oh, we're gonna capitalize on this. Also, somebody was like, I'm gonna make a calculator to see how fucked I am when I put games into Unity. And you know, if you guys want to mess with this, I'm gonna put this into the chat here. So there's more, right? So they came out. A lot of devs have already spoken out against it, right? We saw this one yesterday, Call to the Lamb. They say buy Call to the Lamb now because we're deleting it on January 1st, right? There's AgroCrab Games did the same thing. Basically, I fucking hate it here. I see folks at Rogue Co. basically the same thing. For our part, Rogue plans to meet each one of our studio working in Unity and evaluate with them whether continued use of the engine makes sense for the sustainability of our business. In some cases, it may not. It's every game creator developer is now looking and reassessing whether or not they want to stick with Unity in the future. So yeah, people are pissed. And this is going to be a huge hit to Unity because now there's a trust issue, right? This is like WotC all over again. Wizards of the Coast. Earlier this year, we all remember most of what happened, controversy and shit. Now it's Unity's turn. They decided to step up, for the latter half of the year. We couldn't have one. We could have one super shitty company in a year. Comments about things that are happening internally on Unity. We have no way of verifying if it's true, but it says, I heard from inside Unity, the blog post was reviewed for weeks and internal concerns about poor, confusing messaging, gamepads, etc. were all ignored. It's resignation time for some folks. It says, the Unity pricing shit doesn't apply to developers using for gambling purposes. It says, how are non-gaming applications impacted by the Unity runtime fee? Unity runtime fee does not apply to our film, gambling, or education subscription plans at this time. I'm not going to read their update yet because, like I said, we have more to go through. They're not going to dig themselves out of this with words. I want to point out the CEO of Unity is John Riccitiello. And John Riccitiello, we talked about before. We talked about him in like 2020 or something like that. He made a comment. He made this comment right here. Yeah, 2022. He said, game devs who skip monetization options are fucking idiots. You probably remember this conversation, right? Because it's a pretty brazen statement to make. And he goes on to kind of elaborate a little bit, kind of pat it some, and then later respond and say, maybe I used the wrong words, gamer words. They happen sometimes, right? And then, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we'll play the first few seconds. This is John back in 2011 when he was the CEO of EA talking about monetization of games there.
When you are 6 hours into playing Battlefield and you run out of ammo in your clip and we ask you for $1 to reload, you're really not very price sensitive at that point in time.
So in 2011, comments about putting microtransactions on reloads, obviously that's probably drilled down a little bit further than he intended, but the messaging is there. So this guy has a history of being anti-consumer, basically, right? And so a few days ago, it says Unity's controversial business decision comes mere days after CEO sells 2,000 shares. I mean, he is the CEO. So he certainly has knowledge about an internal memo that they were going to release as a blog post or an update to their policy because he probably helped architect the policy. And so if you're selling a ton of of shares right before you initiate the policy. SEC open up. That's right. The most insider trading. Woo! It's a big fucking deal, right? It says 6 days prior to Unity's announcement, Riccitiello, the president and CEO of Unity Software, sold off 2,000 company shares. And the same report also notes that Riccitiello has sold over 50,000 shares in the company over the last year and purchased none. So he's trying to cash out. And I guess he's going to like torch the place on his way out. Here's an apology from Not Unity. It says, we are listening. Upon reflection, we realize that we should have sought more input for our community and value partners before implementing such a significant change. We fell short of this aspect, and for that, we are genuinely sorry. We have always prided ourselves on the transparent and symbiotic relationship we have with our user base. Unity's success story is intrinsically linked to the achievements and growth of our developers. Effective immediately, we'll be taking 50% revenue split from your games and investing it directly into AI technology you love. We also might buy another adware company or launch a third SRP. Shut the fuck up and take it. Now, not real, but probably what they're thinking. So now we have, when did this come out? 2:49 p.m., 40 minutes ago. Woo, here we go. So now we have an update. Hopefully some policy change. But even then, can you trust them? Say, we want to acknowledge the confusion and frustration we heard after we announced our new runtime fee policy. We'd like to clarify some of your top questions and concerns. Who is impacted by the price? The price's increase is very targeted. In fact, more than 90% of our customers will not be affected by this change. Customers who will be impacted are generally those who have found a substantial scale in downloads and revenue, and we have reached both our install and revenue thresholds. This means a low or no fee for creators who have not found scale success yet, and a modest one-time fee for those who have. For a fee for new installs only. On new installs only. Okay, hold on. There's more though. So once you meet the 2 install and revenue threshold, you may pay the runtime fee on new installs after January 1st, 2024. It's not perpetual. You only pay for once for an install, not ongoing perpetual license royalty like a revenue share model. How we define and count installs. Assuming the install and revenue thresholds are met, we will only count net new installs on any device starting January 1st, 2024. Additionally, developers are not responsible for paying a runtime fee on reinstall charges. We are not going to charge a fee for reinstalls. That's not what it was reported earlier. Fraudulent installs charges. We are not going to charge a fee for fraudulent installs. We're working directly with you on cases where fraud and botnets are suspected of malicious content. And that's what they said yesterday after they had said that they are going to charge for installs. They said they were going to charge for reinstalls. And then they said that, well, if there's a problem with it, you could deal with our customer service department. Trials, partial play, demos, and automation installs, DevOps charges. We are not going to count these towards your install count. Early access games are not considered demos. That's all of them. So, web and streaming games. We are not going to count web and streaming games towards your install count either. Also was not reported as such. As a charity related installs, the price change and install count will not be applied to your charity bundles initiatives. That was reported accurately initially as well. It took you a day to come up with this. Who gets the bloody bill? Who is distributing the body? Yeah, I mean, like, why are they charging for the installs, period? Like, are they already paying for, like, for some semblance of this? Why don't they charge per sale? Why don't they just charge per sale? CO needed to combat inflation. Fuck. Needs another yacht. I did see this. Yeah, this right here says that Unity silently removed their GitHub repo to track license changes, then updated their license to remove the clause that lets you use the TOS from the version you shipped with, then insists games already shipped need to pay the new fees. So this is after the previous controversy with license changes in 2019, after disagreements with Improbable, Unity updated the terms of service to include the following statement. When you obtain a version of Unity and don't upgrade your project, we think you should be able to stick to that version of the TOS. Okay. This is starting to sound a lot like WotC. It says as part of their commitment to being an open platform, they made a GitHub repository that tracks changes to the Unity's terms to give developers full transparency on what changes are happening and when. Well, sometime around June last year, they silently deleted the GitHub repo. April 3rd of this year, they updated their terms of service to no longer remove the clause that was added in the 2019 controversy. So they're trying to basically remove things that are fallbacks for people. You know, say, hey, I made this under the 1.0 version of the TOS. They're like, oh, well, we've invalidated that. That sounds really fucking familiar. That sounds a lot like Wizards of the Coast. That sounds a lot like that. Yeah, I think this is pretty insufficient of an update here. They have their FAQ here. They have a forums, huh? Holy shit, the balls on these fucking guys. Is it actual forums? Oh boy. I mean, 102 pages already. Whoa, what are they saying in the forums? Unity, you have betrayed the trust of your customers completely. You removed the GitHub repo to track license changes and sneakily updated the terms of service to remove the clause that users would stick to the license of the previous LTS versions. And so here's basically a repeat of that thread that we just looked at, which is great because it's right here at the top. So, and this is their original post. So kudos to this guy. This is developers sticking together right here, right? Let me see. Oh, here we go. We calculate your build by consulting this black box you're not allowed to look at. Yeah, here we go. We leverage our own proprietary data model so you can appreciate that we won't go into a lot of detail, but we believe it gives an accurate determination of the number of times the runtime is distributed for a given project. No, this can't be real.
Never mind. I guess it is.
I really can't see them following through with this. This is such a huge cloud of hate, you know? And it's not like Unreal is going to sit there and just be like, wow, man, those guys are fucking up and just go back to doing their own thing. They're going to be hitting the promo hard, you know? They're probably going to announce some kind of like new developer onboarding or some kind of like how to convert your game from Unity to Unreal. Like, for reals, like I could totally see Unreal stepping it and being like, yeah, we're gonna do everything we can to handhold these developers over to our platform. Is this that thing we already saw? Okay. Oh no. See, I bet Steam, Epic, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft will love having waves of developers pulling their games. Innersloth has always paid Unity appropriately for license and services we use. I'm not a discourse guy, but this is undue and will force my hand. Yep. Blood is in the water. Gotta take advantage. That's exactly what they're gonna do. Most popular Unity games. Oh man, I mean shit. Fucking so many. Beat Saber, Monument Valley, Return of Obra Dinn. Okay, I mean I don't know if that's that popular. Hollow Knight, of course. RimWorld, sure. Subnautica, yeah. Death's Door, Gunfire Reborn. I'm gonna say yes. Pokemon Go, City Skylines, Rust, Far Lone Sails. Well, it's not that popular. Is this like? Oh, they're great games. Okay, I'll agree with all that. My friend Pedro, sure. Hearthstone. Boy, they better pay up. Oh, Blizzard better pay up. Ready to start reinstalling? Escape Plan. Ori and the Blind Forest. Pillars of Eternity. And Cuphead. Blizzard's gonna close the game down. Hearthstone 2 announcement coming soon. Yeah, right? What the fuck? Yeah, that's the route to go. And we're going to reinstall. Side note, downloading Battle.net now. I mean, that's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. Somehow find a way to make your two enemies just boop, boop, boop. I didn't realize that Hearthstone was Unity, honestly. Maybe I knew at some point in time, but I just didn't know. Blizzard versus Unity lawsuit. You mean Microsoft versus Unity? Right. Because that's what it is. Yeah, Godzilla, let them fight. I guess we'll wait and see what happens, but I think, if anything, there might be some insider trading going on that the SEC might want to just take a look at. Just a cursory kind of glance at what's going on. It is kind of weird that John Riccitiello over the past year has been offloading thousands of shares and not purchasing any for a company that he's writing the policy for, or at least he's signing off on. It just sounds sus. And so we'll see what happens with him. Probably nothing. I don't know how rich he is, if he's a B or if he's an M, but if he's a B, maybe nothing will happen. But if he's an M, might not be enough money to pay your way out. This Riccitiello guy is 2-0. Started the downfall of EA, now Unity 2. Yeah, I wonder where he's going to go next. I was thinking that if he goes to Epic.